Hey folks, this is Matt Rainwater, and this video is just going to be something a little bit different. I say different, I used to do this actually when I first started really posting a lot of stuff in YouTube. And also, I would do this for Patreon for a while where I would just talk while I was working. And basically, the idea is just hang out for a little bit, just chill. And just getting set up here before I can get into the flow. What was I saying? Just to chill out, and also I think ultimately I look at this as sort of a test because eventually I would love to do some live streams, hang out with y'all one on one in real time. And the main reason I haven't done that yet is I'm looking right now. So I'm looking for equipment, audio equipment, video recording equipment. I say this like this is some really big complicated thing. It really isn't. I just get like a frickin' GoPro camera or something to hook up to my PC. Because I had this big laundry list. And by big, I mean like, it's not big at all. It's probably about 5 different items at most. And one of those items was a PC computer, so I got one. Bought one from my friend Chad. It's a really nice computer. For a pretty decent price, too, I'd say. So I have the computer. It's got more processing power than I'm ever really going to use. I'm really not sure what I'm going to do with all that processing power other than like play video games. Because drawing comics doesn't really use a lot of your computer's power, I guess. It seems like. My main work computer, the thing that uses most of its power tends to be Google. Because Google, I guess. But I was thinking about doing more of these videos again. Like I said, a way to like interact with y'all a little bit more, other than just like the Trailer Park Warlock commentaries. It gets a little bit. I don't know. It's working as a comic artist is already a pretty independent, sort of hermit-like existence. And something that I do really appreciate when seasons of Webtoons are on, is the interaction I get with a lot of readers as new episodes are released. And actually, I mean, I still interact a fair amount with readers even on the off seasons, but it's not as much, And I start to notice that difference, right? It's like, oh, it's quieter. And so I'm thinking, it'd be kind of cool to have in the future potentially some live streams where I can I mean the idea would be like in the evening, when I'm not working as much, but I want to get just like a little bit more work done like I'm doing tonight, where I'm just inking these panels I didn't finish earlier today. I want to get a little bit more done, and I want to hang out for a little bit. And so I think it would be a cool idea, and I can possibly even get some music to go with it. My friend Joe Bevel might be able to help. I don't know. I'll have to ask him. That's a little future seeking. Let's start with just me acquiring the camera, and I want a better audio recording device. I think that this headset is all right, but I could do better, right? It's a little bit, it's not the highest quality recording device. The voice is not 100%. Like it doesn't come through 100% versus, other things, right? But I also figured y'all might enjoy watching me work, right? I really enjoy watching other artists work, and I know maybe not everybody's into that kind of thing, but to me it's soothing, relaxing. It's also just interesting to see other techniques that other artists use. There's a you can find it on YouTube. There is a Japanese documentary series called Manben, Manben, and this artist, this one manga artist whose name I can't remember, but he's done books. The main book that I can remember that he's done is Pluto, and I think it's like, this is totally a guess, but I think it's Naoki Urasawa. I could be totally wrong. I might have just like literally pulled a Japanese name from the top of my head. I was like, yeah, that one. But it might be. It might be. Anyway, he himself is a little bit annoying in the video, but he asks pretty decent questions when he interviews artists, and I really like how this series goes about detailing their like different manga creators' processes, because you get to see how different creators work. So, for example, there's one artist who is a mother, and so her whole like the way that she does her process is she'll get a month's work done in like the span of like a day or a couple of days or a week or something like that. So she'll hire on like 11 assistants and just crank pages out and get everything that she can get done within that time so that she can go back to spend time with her kids. And I thought that was really interesting to find out. Like, obviously, that's sort of a different situation. I don't have artists or assistants working for me or working with me. I can't really afford assistants. I tried that for a little bit. I had my friend David help me flat for a while, and it ended up not working out. One of the big things was like I ended up spending more time going back fixing the things that, I mean, not like he would know, but the things that I wanted to get fixed, either because like a particular color wasn't what I wanted, or something in the background was done in a way that I didn't want it done. And so it didn't really save me time. It's not like I'm making an incredible amount of money doing this right now. Like, it's not the greatest paying job ever, so I can't really afford working with having an assistant work with me. But that being said, I learned how to just do that stuff by myself in the process. I've been thinking, in the future, if I ever... I know, we were talking about Manben. We'll get back around to it. I was thinking, if I did ever have assistants, what I would want is an assistant to help me work on backgrounds. So, like, here's how I've kind of thought about it and how I would want to do process in the future for creating comics work. Have somebody who does background work and like do it. So like I would basically describe to them like, and give sketches and stuff, and be like, okay, I need a coffee shop, right? And I need this coffee shop from multiple angles, and the exterior from multiple angles, and then kind of break it down like that, and that would be this whole part of the process I wouldn't even have to deal with. And would save me an incredible amount of time, because backgrounds take a lot of work, and I think backgrounds are important. I see a lot of comics lately It's not just webtoons, it's like all over the place where people are just they're putting a little less effort into background work, and a lot of times it just seems like characters exist in these voids. I say this, by the way, while I'm drawing Mason Mila and Mason Douglas in a frickin' void. Like, I'm guilty of the same thing. That's all I'm saying. But I try and pace it out in such a way that it's not. I think that's what it is. I think a lot of artists haven't quite figured out the proper pacing yet. To do like, okay, you need a background shot. You don't need a background shot. And I think that from my personal perspective, and I'm just going to use this as an example. This is an unfinished panel right here, but I think that if you know you're going to have a panel in the future that has no background, make sure you have some panels before them that do have some background, some stuff going on, so that the reader has space, right? Maybe space isn't the correct word, but like the reader has in their mind like what the space looks like, and they can still hold that in their mind while they're looking at character talking heads, talking to void or whatever, right? And I think that's my main criticism that I'm giving right now. I've seen and this is definitely not every webtoon. This is definitely not every comic. But I have seen it a fair enough amount that I feel like it's something that I think about, right? Like it's something that it crosses my mind when I see it. And I think that it would suit their stories better just to have a little bit more background. Have a little, like I get it. Especially for a lot of the Webtoon original artists, like, I get it. You gotta meet deadlines. Sometimes you're gonna have a panel that's just the corner of somebody's face and it's like an eye and, it needs to be a little bit mysterious or, the emotion is occluded so that you're not really sure what the character's thinking or you want them to look whatever, I get it. Those are quick, easy shots to do as an artist. You can kind of just steam right through them and move on to the next shot. And that's kind of a whole other thing, I've been thinking about this a lot because I've been reading a lot of the thoughts of Webtoon Canvas artists on Twitter. And just kind of taking it in because I read a lot of their thoughts and they remind me of thoughts that I had when I was a budding artist. And I feel like at this point I can kind of talk in this way because I've been making comics since 2009 on a professional level. So I think that's enough time, right? That's about 11 years. I think that deserves a certain amount of like I can talk on this matter at this point. Point being, what the heck was I talking about? Backgrounds. Yeah. So anyway, I just think about this a lot. I've been thinking about this a lot because I've been reading, a lot of the thoughts of creators on Webtoon Canvas through Twitter. And like I was saying, like these are thoughts that I had when I was younger and working as a budding artist, and I definitely had moments where I thought to myself, like, yeah, backgrounds aren't that important. You read, how many manga do you read where there aren't really that many backgrounds? Well, it does happen, but I think that a lot of manga artists use sort of what I was describing earlier, which is that technique of you establish the environment. You at least do that. And I don't really see, I don't really see the environment established enough in a lot of Webtoon works. And by a lot, that's a very relative term, by the way, I should add. because on Webtoon there's like a bajillion stories. By the way, Mila's nose is kind of a subtle, difficult thing because like, so when I designed Mila, I wanted Mila to look sort of androgynous or make it questionable about like what Mila's gender was because Mila's a golem, and that already kind of puts her in a position of what does that even? What does gender even mean when you're an artificially created creature, right? A homunculus, and her nose is one of those features. By the way, another little thing: she tucks her glasses behind her wig, which should also be an indicator for anybody looking at her from. She doesn't always do that, right? There's some panels where she has her glasses tucked behind her ear, sort of like a normal human being, and then other panels where it's like, not that way. And the idea was to sort of create this contrast that like Mila doesn't quite human perfectly. Like, I mean, to be fair, also her parents are not. I mean, they were basically. How do you even talk about that? That's sticky. I mean, her dad is a Sasquatch, her mom's an elf, so they themselves don't necessarily 100% jive with typical human stuff, right? They kind of have their own cultural fixations and interests that are outside of human interests. And by the way, that's something that I kind of want to get into in whatever series I do after Trailer Park Warlock, if we ever even get there. Anyway, I was talking about Mila's nose, and that was a total tangent because I was thinking about Webtoon canvas artists, and I've totally lost where I was earlier. I'm sure it'll come back to me eventually. Man, I didn't draw her chest very well. Give me a second, y'all. I'm like having my processor's running at full because I'm just like, this doesn't look right. It doesn't look 100% right. Don't like it. Maybe I'll just come back to it later. Pro tip: if you can't fix it, screw it. Move on and come back to it later. So anyway, Mila's nose. Very difficult. As a character, Mila is sort of complicated to draw for me. And I think that I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish, but I kind of I think if you look at earlier episodes of Trailer Park Warlock, when we first introduce Mila and Douglas, Mila does not, I don't know, Mila looks like a little too weird compared to where she is now. I think this happens quite frequently in this comic where and this is because I don't generally do character models, I just kind of go with it, and you get kind of wonky character design throughout the episodes, and I eventually got there with Mila. I eventually got there with Dutch. Dutch was another character that I kind of like. I kind of forgot how to draw beaks on penguins. Lenny kind of has some weird inconsistencies. Darla and Bev both have. You can definitely see some major inconsistencies between them. Between season 1, season 2, and season 3, you can see some pretty big inconsistencies in the way that their character designs look. Anyway, so I did accomplish the mission because I had readers who were like, "Oh, I didn't even realize Darla was Darla was a woman, and I mean, there you go. I mean, I did want that androgynous sort of aspect to her character because I wanted to give readers sort of an indication, like, oh, there's something up with this character. They're kind of different in some way. We don't really know what exactly, and then in season 4 we get that reveal, right? I don't know. I think there are people who I already said earlier. Yeah, we get the reveal that she's a golem. So anyway, moving on from that. I paused for a moment because it's like I think there are people who haven't really read the webtoon and just get it through the commentary. I don't know. I kind of wonder sometimes that there are people who watch these videos and never read the webtoon. Well, I guess that's a spoiler for y'all. I don't know if there are those of you out there who do that. But you should read the webtoon. It gives me more money. Not a lot, but anything helps. So, like I was saying earlier, talking about webtoon canvas artists, there is this whole thing. Something I did agree with a lot of webtoon canvas artists on Twitter is that the expectations are a little bit high for creators on like what they should be able to get done within a week. Especially if you want like good quality stories. And I have, I guess, a personal issue. We'll get to this in a little bit. Anyway, if you want to have good quality stories, it's hard to make good quality stories if like you're running on empty all the time and you're underpaid and you don't have time to just like relax or take a break or play a video game or spend time with friends and family, because that's important. All that life stuff's important. And I think that the business model that Webtoon's going for, they're still trying to figure out. I mean, I don't really even understand what it is. Because I feel like the business model, from my perspective, is we have a bunch of people read comics for free, and we get revenue from advertisements. They kind of do sort of the YouTube model. I think that's ultimately what they're trying to go for, is the YouTube model, which is just like, people post stuff, and we share revenue from advertisements with them, and bada bing, bada boom, right? Money. And I've gotten some indications from meetings that they've had that they're working towards something that would foster that a little bit better. But anyway, that's for Webtoon to figure out. I'm just here to make comics, right? So what was I saying? Yeah, I would love, wouldn't everybody, right? I would love more money and more time. That would be my two biggest like criticisms and requests as a Webtoon original artist. More time to make comics and more money. Or actually, you could just give me way more money, right? And I could create more time by hiring assistants. That could happen. Like I was talking about earlier. What would I do if I had an assistant? Because I can get a lot done on my own. Especially with character work. backgrounds sometimes, and that's I mean, ultimately, getting back to sort of what I was talking about with backgrounds, it's ultimately the reason why a lot of artists sort of skip on the backgrounds because they do take a lot of time, especially when to do them right. Like, I'm not a super huge fan of like the kind of background work where it just looks like some Google SketchUp model. I mean, it works, right? It just doesn't really have a lot of character. It doesn't really have, like, you compare, if you compare backgrounds like that to, say, I just love the background work that Eiichiro Oda does in One Piece, or check out, like, I mean, manga. I read a lot of American comics too, but manga. There's a lot of manga that's a pretty huge influence on me. I mean, you could look at even some old dude like Osamu Tezuka. Like, yeah, his stuff's a little old and janky, but like his backgrounds just have a lot of character to them and have a lot of interesting curves and personality, and just speak to the people. Let's be honest here, the people creating those books. And I think that that's something that I have sort of a concern about, is that there can be too often like sort of a I don't know, like an overly conformist style. I say that, but I mean, like I said earlier, like just the wealth of titles on Webtoon. Um, you get all kinds of different styles, right? There's so many different ways people are drawing. I mean, there's me, right? I'm here. Uh, but you see people trying all kinds of different stuff. I just get concerned sometimes where it's like, do new artists feel pressured to draw in certain ways because that's what's popular, right? I remember having this conversation with somebody who did my hair at Sports Clips about a year ago. And the person who's doing my hair found out that cutting my hair, doing my hair, whatever you want to say, found out that I was a webtoon artist, and was like, "Oh, cool. What do you do?" And I told her Trailer Park Warlock, and I showed her, a picture of it, and her response was like, "Oh, well, I'm more into the realistic drawing styles." I was like, "Okay, I mean, I'm not gonna. What am I gonna do? Like, especially when I was just cutting my hair, be like, well, screw you, saw it off. Like, I like a lot of the realistic drawing styles. I mean, she named God of High School as one of her titles that she read. I like the artist who does God of High School. It looks cool. Like, there's a reason why people like that, right? Because it looks cool. It's just not every artist does that. Like, I don't do that. There was a while where I tried to be that style, and I found it just didn't work with me. Like, I like curvy lines. I like cartoony sort of. I like a more cartoony style, right? I'm gonna stop here in a moment. Um, that's what works for me, and that's where I've noticed that I've done the most growth as an artist. And I am hugely, like, in a lot of ways, I am incredibly grateful to Webtoon, because they've given me an opportunity that like no American company would give me this opportunity to work in this way, right? And Webtoon was like, "Hey, we'll try you out." I mean, for me, it's been great. I don't know what it's like for Webtoon, but I'm glad that y'all are liking it. I'm glad that y'all are here and enjoying these stories, and we will do this again soon. Actually, I'm just seeing a line I want to fix. We will do this again soon. And like I said, my ultimate goal is to start doing some live streaming stuff so that y'all can interact with me in real time and have other conversations, right? So anyway, thanks for hanging out, and I hope you're all having a good one, and we will talk again soon, okay? Bye.